Okay, so if I were to say, like, hey, what was your review on Orimo? And I would be like, hey, I love it.
I hate you.
Would you really? Would you really say you love that show?
He's purposely trying to trigger me right now.
Trigger.
Hey, you do like Kuroneko. I mean, come on.
And Trigger's a pretty cool studio. I mean, they've, done Little Witch Academia and whatnot and stuff, So, you're welcome for the triggers.
I hate you so much.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Annie Chatbox. Today I am your host, Jonathan Joestar, as everyone here likes to call me. And today I am joined by our producer, Cassie.
Hello, what episode number is it, oh masterful host of mine?
Good point. This is episode 17. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I'm only going to take marks and, mark everything you do wrong in bright red paint. It'll be great.
You better pass this test, man. You better pass the test. I hear
You're never going to max out my social link this way, bro.
I hear that.
It's like college flashbacks all over again.
Jesus.
I'm also joined by my fellow gentleman of the box, Mr. Craig.
What up, internets? How you doing this fine day?
And unfortunately, Cammy can't join us today, but instead we have a guest host who would, if he would like to join us, if he would like to introduce himself, sorry.
What's up, peeps? My name is Pete, and I am from the Save Our Progress podcast. Hope y'all are doing okay. I'm happy to have for you guys to have me on this episode, as I love the animes. So
you do? I thought you just played video games. Why are you here?
Yeah, I do
you
the
followed
animes.
Me here.
What?
He probably watches more anime than we assign you to watch, Craig.
I'm watching 9 shows this season, and I'm also playing like 4 or 5 games right now. So yeah, I'm.
Good lord.
Here he is, Mr. Universe. You may also recognize him. He was here previously. I believe it was on episode 13 when we discussed Gundam and other such fun things related to the Gundam universe. So,
all the Gundams.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here with all you lovely peeps.
We're happy you're here. Now let's kick you into the back seat. Because what are we doing this week, John?
Well, I'll just be here.
You'll be
Today
right.
will be.
I'm joking.
Today we'll be finishing off our season's impressions, as well as getting back to our weekly anime reviews. But before that, I should actually mention our social links.
There you go.
As always, you can find us on twitter.com/theanniechatbox. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and TuneIn. And I already mentioned iTunes.
It's okay. iTunes happened twice.
We
We can let
I went to
iTunes
say
happen twice. They're taking over everything as is anyway.
Don't worry. I think
you can
we
email
tune it
us.
I regret having him here already.
You can also email us at anniechatmail@gmail.com and follow us on YouTube, which again, we don't have a permanent address for YouTube, but you can probably find us by searching for the Annie Chatbox.
Yeah, it works. I can definitely vouch for that.
Lastly,
Like, if you just search Annie Chatbox on YouTube, it's like the first thing that shows up. So just search it,
man.
and you'll be able to find it
good to
easily.
know.
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
And also, we have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/AnnieChatbox. For if you ever decide to be generous enough to donate any money our way. which would be greatly appreciated.
Yep, we take money. We also take opinions and suggestions as well, though that would be more towards our email, which is anniechatmail@gmail.com.
Do you take
Let's
puns
roll
for
this.
payments?
No.
Damn.
Actually, I think that if you actually keep paying us in puns, you might actually end up owing us money instead of it being a donation.
Is that gonna be my punishment?
I should just oh my fucking god. I should just have a jar. Like some people, I forget the show, there was a douchebag jar where every time they were a douchebag, they had to put money in the jar. It was like some sort of sitcom. Every time Pete makes a pun, he has to put in 5 cents. And that
That'd
doesn't
be a
sound
very
like
jarring
much, but God,
thing for
would we
me,
make
though.
We'd have so much money.
It will add out so quickly.
Yes. But
A
getting
dime a
things
dozen
rolling. So you
puns.
said we're doing the rest of our impressions. So we've got a few stragglers since Craig and Cammy had some absences. But we'll be finishing those up today, as far as I'm aware. As far as our host has told us.
Yep, we'll be finishing those up today. Also, since Cammy isn't here again because of personal circumstances, Cassie will be finishing up with her impressions for her.
Yep. And I believe I actually get to go first.
Indeed.
I do. I do. So because I'm going to be giving Cammy his impressions, I've got to dial up my cute-o-meter 16 million more %. So
Is that possible?
I need to have another cute filter over me so I could be cuter than I am now to max her cuteness.
Where's Instagram?
But yeah, I basically spoke with her and she let me know how she felt about each of these shows. I have not watched either of them, so I won't be able to get any impressions myself, but I have hers. The first one that she had scheduled to do a impression about today was Fukumenkei Noise, or Anonymous Noise, which was animated by Studio Brainspace. And the synopsis is as follows. Nino Arisugawa is a girl who loves singing and has an enchanting voice. She experiences 2 heart-wrenching partings in her childhood. One with her first love, Momo, who moves away. Then, after Nino befriends Yuzu, a young composer, she experiences another sad parting. Each of the 2 boys made a childhood promise with Nino to find her one day through her singing voice. Nino holds on to that promise and continues to sing. 6 years later, the 3 are now in high school. Nino reunites with Yuzu, but Nino also wants to see Momo again. Yuzu is a member of the masked band In No Hurry to Shout. He loves Nino and asks her to get... Hold on. What? He loves Nino and asks her to be the vocalist of the band to help her reach Momo. Nino strives to improve her singing skills in an attempt to get attention of Momo, who is now a professional composer. With music at the core, how will the love triangle play out?
Dun, dun,
Good old
dun.
love triangles. Aren't they the best?
Sounds very similar to an anime we're going to be reviewing today, actually.
Yeah, it does, actually.
So, Cammy said, this show was a case where I judged a book by its cover, and that was the wrong choice to make. While wrapped up in a decently designed package, Fukumenkei Noise delivered your standard shoujo tropes amidst piles of cringe-worthy melodrama, and one of the most insufferable female leads I've ever seen. The show's portrayal of singing as melodramatic screaming also turned me off quite a bit. The characters felt stale, the story seemed basic, and the music was nothing special. Some may enjoy the show, and more power to them, but it's not for me. Therefore, I'm going to sink it. In my perfect world, Fukumenkei Noise sinks down into the ocean in a soundproof submarine.
Damn, that's fucking savage.
Wow.
So, I'm assuming it was super bad. Which is actually a shame. I think she was actually really looking forward to this show this season, especially because she loves music so much herself, but according to her, there was nothing salvageable from this at all.
I wonder what she would think of
that's
our
really
actual
harsh.
review coming up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's our job. If it's bad, you sink it to the bottom of the ocean. Honestly, though, it had to have been really bad, considering all we sunk other things into was nice delicacies from Starbucks and McDonald's. So... Alrighty, let's move on to our next one. Who's next on the docket?
It would actually be me.
Okay, cool. So
And
who's the next
I-
person? Just
After
kidding.
him, it's me. After him, it's me.
I was joking.
Okay.
I was joking about skipping over. Keep up, people!
Anyway, so my last impression for this season is Atom the Beginning. So, the synopsis goes, Japan in the near future suffers an unexplained major disaster. 5 years later, reconstruction is well underway. 2 young researchers at a university are pining all of their hopes on on robot development. Now, their new interpretation of the eternal hero Astro Boy up until his birth is just about to start. The studios behind this are Production IG, OLM, and Signal MD.
Production IG. That's a good sign.
Nice.
They're pretty solid studio.
They are. Especially with
Yeah.
action things. And from what I understand, you said that this is it's a prequel, right? To Astro Boy?
Essentially, from what I understand, so, and that was one of the key points that got me interested in the series, because I love my Mega Mans and my robots and things. So
You don't say.
hearing about Astro Boy, it was something that I've been meaning to try and look into to try and watch, but I seem to keep missing my opportunities to do so. And seeing this come up, it was like, oh, this should be a great place for me to try and jump in and actually get some feel of the world of Astro Boy. And yeah, it's been playing out quite well in that regard.
So in that regard, I guess you would have been pretty hyped for this show then, knowing that you.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to start watching this series, and just I was a bit hesitant because, again, this is a beloved franchise of Astro Boy in Japan, and I was a bit worried that there'd be stuff I won't get. And I'm pretty sure there are references that I'm not picking up on because I'm not familiar with the franchise. But overall, it's not been... it hasn't been detrimental to my enjoyment of the series.
That's good.
It's not been quite obvious that you should know all this stuff and in order to fully get this series. I've been really enjoying it, even going in completely blind with regards to the overall lore of Astro Boy.
Nice.
Actually, Pete, I can't remember. Have you seen the original Astro Boy? Were you the person who'd seen it?
No, I haven't seen the original Astro Boy because that's like really, really old. But I remember watching a few episodes of the remake that they premiered a while ago. It used to be on Toonami. There used to be a remake, and I watched a little bit of that, and it was really cool. But I didn't watch much more of that, and that was a long time ago. But it's a very beloved IP series, and I think it's really neat. And I've seen clips of that, some of the old show, and it's pretty neat, especially for its time. I think it was a little bit maybe ahead of its time. Huh?
Did you see the CG movie?
No, I haven't seen the CG movie.
It's got Nicolas Cage in it.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Have you seen the CG movie, John?
No, I haven't. Again, I haven't seen anything to do with Astro Boy, and somehow I completely missed the remake TV series. I only recently found out that there was one, so I might look into...
Well, you were hiding under your rock called the English continent.
Again, yeah, we don't have... Well, we used to have Toonami here, but then it kind of vanished, and there's pretty much no anime on TV here anymore.
That's
Which
unfortunate.
is really...
That's
makes me
a
sad.
shame.
Half the shows on Crunchyroll you can't watch.
Jeez.
I know, right? So looking it up and it's like, this series is not available in your region. Why? Because you're in the UK. Sucks to be you.
But that being said, did it also suck that you had to watch this show? Or are you feeling pretty good about it? I must know.
I am actually really enjoying this series, and seeing the old school art style of all the characters, but with the like updated technology in animation, and how well they're blending the 3D elements, the 3D CGI elements with the 2D drawings.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very well polished, and I am really enjoying it. And seeing A106 develop as they're working on him, building him up to, I assume, to eventually become Atom or Astro Boy, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really charming series, and I'm really enjoying it. And there's some intrigue, a little bit of intrigue as to certain things going on. But for the most part, it's just been really lighthearted and a very, very cool series to watch. So
Nice.
So, sink,
That's good.
swim.
it's swimming.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're having a really good season this year.
It is a really good season.
I'm really liking a bunch of shows.
Yeah, but we are brutally, destroying some of them, too, so...
True.
I know
It's
that
like
last
we
week,
either
I
love it or
think
hate
Craig...
it, it seems like.
Speaking of love, I know that Craig last week had to talk about Love Tyrant, and I thought he was going to have an emotional breakdown.
Oh, God.
Because he had to
don't
sit
worry,
through
Craig.
3
I'm
episodes
with you
of
on
that
that.
show.
I'm with you on Love Tyrant. I gave
watched
that a
episode
shot.
2.
I didn't
I watched
finish episode
episode 2 and
2.
3
I
of that.
watched halfway episode 2, and I was just like, no, I'm done. I'm done with this show.
Honestly, I feel like the person who got the best picks this season so far, technically overall, I'm not saying he has the best show of the season, but I feel like John just has the best shows, because all of us who have failed things have hard failed them.
The one thing I found is I'm really enjoying this series. I just know it's not for everyone.
It's a show that you feel like it's more for you, but it's very niche and can't recommend it to other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the reasons why I love it are very personal. So
Yeah,
That
and
was me in
that's-
Boruto.
I mean, and that's what the point of these impressions are, is that we want to pass things that we know other people, not just ourselves, but the wide anime community may enjoy, and we compare that to the typically 4 of us here, and will this be something that all of us can have a discussion about? Excuse me, or is it going to be something that, we're all going to find relatively mediocre, or isn't worth sitting down and spending 6 hours of our lives on, and you as a person need to make that decision. Speaking of decision making, so Craig,
Hi. Listen.
Yep.
So, my last impression. It's on a show called Creators. Studio with this is Troika. You should know them from Aldnoah Zero. You should also know the director, A. Aoki, who's also done Aldnoah Zero, Fate Zero, Galray Zero. So many zeros.
I was about to say, that's a
So-
lot of fucking zeros.
Right? This is an original concept, so let me break down the synopsis real quick for you, and then we'll dive into the meat and potatoes. Sota Mizushino, a young high school student and anime fan who dreams of writing his own light novel, while looking at the anime adaptation for the mecha light novel Elemental Symphony of Vogue Chevalier. For inspiration, the iPad he's watching it on sputters and drags him into the anime world when he witnesses a battle between the anime's main character, Celestia, and a mysterious girl wearing a military uniform. After returning with Celestia, Sota discovers that other characters from different stories and forms of media were also brought to the real world, with some of them aligned with the military uniform girl, who promised them the ways to end their strife in their individual worlds in a way back home, unaware of her true intentions. To stop her, Sota and Celestia agree to find the other characters and bring them home, lest the military uniform girl will bring untold destruction to every world that exists. Okay, so I was talking to Cass about this before recording, and Pete can weigh in his thoughts after I give my final thoughts to see what he has to think about it.
Yeah, you guys can have a discussion here. That'd be kind of
yes.
fun. We've got some time. I think we've gotten additional 10 to 20 minutes, and I only have one impression to go, and I have no opinion otherwise other than Cammy's that I'm really going to read. So go nuts.
So the first 3 episodes, main guy, Sota, wants to create his own story, his own light novel, right? By inspiration of this anime / light novel.
So kind of like how in Saikano they want to make their own visual novel,
their own
or video game or whatever.
Yeah.
Visual novel,
Yeah. Whereas I think this guy honestly is kind of in the background in a lot of the cases. I find it as though him being a main character, he's kind of like not interesting. The fights in this anime are okay. Like the first episode, the fight scene was pretty cool. It got better. The fight scenes got better. They introduced more characters, more players on the field. Basically, the first 3 episodes were literally what the summary said. They were essentially thrown into a world, and some are trying to fight to essentially talk to their creators. So in this case, Celestia, from her light novel series, goes to try to find the author of the light novels and see if she can force him to rewrite her character bio to reshape her world, to send her back. Albeit, from the 3 episodes, it seemed like nothing really changed. They try to give her, since she uses magic and a mecha, which the mecha is still trapped in her own universe, they try to give her a new attack, which she couldn't utilize. So it's a lot of, so far, set up. I'm very divided on this show. I think it is very middle of the road, and while I enjoy it, I think it is very generic. I find that it plays it safe. I will note that, along with Aoki, the director, Hiroyuki Sawano, love that man, and Pete does too. Any soundtrack or score that man touches at least has some personality to a degree. Whether or not the writing reflects that is standalone. So at the end of the day, is this show worth watching for critical viewing? The sink or swim. Is it worth watching for me, or is it is it cool to drag people along for this ride? Because at the end of the day, I was going back and forth, and I was thinking, who would honestly watch this? I don't know if Cass would like it. I think John would think it's okay. But what I'm intrigued with is the mystery. Who is this girl? Why are these guys fighting? And how can these anime light novel, these anime characters, these RPG video game characters, these visual novel characters, how do they come into the real world and affect it in a strange way? How do they have superpowers in the real world? That sort of thing. How do they shift the balance of it? Laws of physics, what have you.
So yay.
I'm going to give this a hesitant yay.
Okay, so so I feel like everybody so far this season, minus John, has gotten a pity pass.
I was going to add on to that.
Yes.
If I were to get a yay or nay, I actually would give it a pretty confident yay on it. I think that there are some things about that show that are a little bit safe, but I feel like it's very compelling with some of the touches that they do.
The personalities.
The thing is that their theme that they're going with is what if anime was made real. And I think one of the really cool, they do some really cool things with this theme. One example I could give on episode 2 is one I just watched. This is the episode where the magical girl comes in and whatnot. And I found it very interesting because when there's a fight she has with it, she's kind of like taken aback by a lot of things, by like the differences
The
between
devastation.
her world, yeah, her and what typically would be a Sailor Moon or like magical girl, kid friendly, safe. There's no blood and stuff like that. There's no destruction. There's no consequences to the fights and whatnot. Well, I mean, like outside consequences. And then like when she gets in a fight, she realizes there's lots of collateral damage. There's like buildings that have been like broken and stuff like that. People could have been hurt and stuff like that. And she like could almost kill the one person she was fighting when she was like shocked, like, why is this happening? This never happened in my world and stuff like that. And then
It's very true.
Yeah, and then it's like there's other things too. Is like the main girl, I forgot what her name is, but she was like saying, you can't be this naive and think that you just fighting half-heartedly will work and stuff like that.
Will solve anything.
Yeah, you can't just think that everybody's gonna change their minds this easily. This is not your fantasy world. This is reality. And when she had like sort of like a reality check on that sort of thing, and I thought that was really interesting to have that sort of like clash of ideology between her own anime world and what she used to know versus what in our world reality. And I thought that was really neat. Like you have like neat touches like that. And then there's also the thing that I like the theme that our world is kind of viewed as the land of the gods, which is interesting because the artists are viewed as the gods of their own respective worlds. And it's kind of interesting too because I think it was also known in episode 2 is like someone was saying, I can't remember, it's like, why is there like always so many conflicts going on with our world and stuff like that? Why is it always like this? And I think to myself, wow, we're really kind of douchey because the reason why there's so many conflicts in their worlds is because it's for our own entertainment. And it's like, I can imagine like I could sort of see ourselves more like gods. I get like that. It's like we set these puppets or pawns, don't really think much of it because they're not real. But what if they were real and then they're having all these like heartbreaking conflicts and we're just seeing this as entertainment? That sort of meta thing that just kind of like made me think about that. Like, this is really cool on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Cool
well, we'll definitely have you tag along for like when it's done. It's 22 episodes, so it'll probably be way down the line. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, 3 out of 4 podcast hosts this season tentatively didn't know what way to go on at least one of their shows. So we'll see what happens when we all come back on those 3 on those 3 shows and say whether we made a horrible mistake or not. We'll find out. Stay tuned, guys, for several months from now. All right. John, I think I've got one more to go.
Yeah, that will be Cassie's.
Yeah. Well, technically, Cammy's the last one, but we'll make this relatively quick. She basically, her last show of the season that she was super excited about, and we really didn't have to worry about anyone else getting it because she's the only person who watches it, is Natsume Yuujinchou Roku, which is Natsume's Book of Friends season 6.
Lord.
For those of you who don't know, basically Natsume's Book of Friends is basically, I don't know, I'm gonna have to go and pull up a synopsis, which I should have already had, but it's, from what I know about it, seems to be about a boy, it's animated by Studio Shuka, and it's about a boy who basically interacts with several beings and, I don't know, like spirits, I guess?
Yeah.
And basically he's helping them become free of his Book of Friends that his grandmother of years past basically captured. And he's slowly becoming friends with those particular spirits and getting to know their stories. And it's kind of an episodic show from what I've been told. Cammy's impression on it was, I've loved this series for a long time. Season 6 is no exception. Upon seeing the gorgeous new OP, it's clear that the art has taken a stunning turn, still improving as the seasons go on. The music from the original 4 seasons is still there, along with all of the characters. I think she meant also the 5th season as well, because this is the 6th. Along with all of the characters and accompanying voice actors fans know and love. The first episode had me tearing up, an immediate reminder that this show still maintains delicacy and heart that has always drawn me into it. I love it to death, and it undeniably swims I hope you'll look forward to a solo review I'll do on the series as a whole eventually. And that was something that me and her talked about. She wanted to pass this show because she does believe it's something that does deserve recognition, but she doesn't want to have us sit down and watch 6 seasons of a show just to have a review of it. Especially because
how many episodes is that?
I am not sure.
Okay. Fair enough.
I do know that season 6 is slated to have 11.
Okay, that's not bad.
But I think the first season had significantly more.
Gotcha.
But the point is that I agreed to let her pass it, and basically when we do review it, quote unquote, she'll just do a solo review of it and just tell us what she thinks of it and what's good about it and give us a rating. And I think that's fair. Anyway, so she swims it, she thinks it's great, she thinks it's wonderful, and if anything, the production values have only gotten better.
Excellent.
What now, boss?
Alright then, so that wraps up our impressions. And how are we doing for time?
We're doing pretty good on time. And also,
Yeah.
by the end of the episode, I'll calculate how many shows we passed this season. I think we actually passed less this season than we did last.
Did we?
Possibly, but because last season... Oh, wait, no. We may have failed more last season, because I just remembered I failed all of my shows last season except one.
Yeah, you failed all but one of your shows last season, didn't you? So
I did indeed, because last season was garbage. And what little
Yeah, last
garbage
season
there
was
wasn't.
pretty boring.
It was boring, and then what things weren't boring were just kind of bad, and even the stuff that was kind of good was kind of eh. There was some really amazing stuff that did come out last season, though, and we'll start actually talking about those right now, actually.
Yep. So, finally on to our review for today, which is Fuuka.
Woo!
And
I'm
What the
very
Fuuka?
curious.
What the Fuuka,
the
man?
synopsis goes...
Uh-huh.
The story follows Yu Haruna, a loner and an avid Twitter user that made a promise with his childhood friend Koyuki Hinashi to start a band. One night, on his way to buy dinner, he stops to take a photo to upload to Twitter. A strange high school girl named Fuuka Akitsuki accidentally bumps into him and mistakenly believes that Yu is trying to take a photo of her panties, which causes her to smash his phone. Fuuka leaves behind a CD, which Yu returns the following day. Appreciating Yu's personality, Fuuka starts a relationship with him, but this is complicated when Koyuki, now a popular idol, contacts Yu on Twitter and invites him to attend her concert. The studio that made this is Diomedia. I believe that's how it's pronounced.
I believe so, yeah.
And they have also done Shinyaku Ika Musume.
Ika Musume was a fun show. It was super dumb, but it was cute.
And may I add something to the synopsis of this as well too? This show, Fuuka, well, at least the source material, the source is based off of, this manga is actually sort of a sequel to the author's one of the author's previous work, which was, I don't know if you guys have heard of Suzuka. Have you guys heard of that show? It came out a long time ago.
I
Yeah,
I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen it. Yeah.
Right. So that's the one where there's on a track team.
Nice.
Yeah. It's actually the main couple's daughter, Fuuka, from that show. So that's why it's sort of a
The
sequel.
spoilers for Shizuka, they get together.
Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, like, that show was in 2005, 2006, so I think it's long enough.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It is a sequel. It's a direct sequel to Shizuka. But moving on to Fuuka itself.
Yeah. So, no, from what I remember, this show is 12 episodes, I believe.
Yes.
And it ended last season. So, the interesting thing about this, I remember Craig was telling me about this is that it didn't like unless you read the synopsis and you look at the the art of this, it doesn't scream that it is actually a banned anime. Actually, it's actually like in the very first episode. I can't remember they showed the opening. But the opening is a first gesture that this is actually, wait, hold on a second, there's music involved with the show, because it starts off as a very samey, like, slice of life high school anime, which seems like, okay, it's gonna be one of these. And it was the same case, at least because I've also read the manga, it's like, oh, it's the same thing, but it's kind of a nice, like, change of pace. It's like, oh, this is actually gonna be revolving more around music and a band and whatnot. So I thought that was really neat.
That's what drew me to it.
Yeah. The band doesn't actually come in until about halfway through the series, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Fourth episode,
like,
I believe.
I was going to make it. Yeah, because, like, yes, it is nice that there's a band there, but the story in general, even when the band starts up, is less about them improving as artists or anything like that, and it's more about the drama around Fuuka and Koyuki, who's a childhood friend of the main character. It's more about than anything. So even though it has the band elements in there, I would argue it's still a really dramatic, over-dramatic rom-com.
It still is, yeah. It just has, I guess, like, nobody was expecting a band element at all to be a part of that show, I think is one of the things, yeah. Because
maybe, unless they, like, looked at any of the promotional art, because all of the promotional art had her singing and a microphone in her hand.
Right.
So I think people were expecting it to be a band anime.
Okay.
Unless they
See,
just
I guess I was
went
going
in
to say
and, like,
this
clicked on the
because
first
when I read the
episode.
manga, it had nothing of that. So that's why I was saying on this. I just remember Craig was saying he was surprised that it was actually music was involved with this when he started watching this.
Yeah, because the PV didn't come to, like, show any of that. But, I mean, either way, you told, like, your and my opinions of this are a little bit colored there, Pete, because we know what happens, and we're going to try and just, like, segregate that from the anime itself.
I just want to mention that quickly, that's all.
Yeah,
and that's fine. I think that the music, when it is in there, is one of the highlights of the show that makes it almost tolerable to watch.
That music's really good, I think.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, the band performances, while very shakily animated, were really nice. I enjoyed listening to the music in this show, and if anything, one of my complaints is I wish they would have just nixed everything to do with the bullshit romance, which is not something I would normally say. I wish they would have nixed all of that and just focused on them becoming, more involved with each other, with their struggles as a band, because they very briefly, in my opinion, and I guess this goes with the story and characters, so we can talk about this, but the thing that bothered me is that they had the whole, let's get the band together, and there seemed to be kind of this friction where the characters, like, didn't really want to join the band, or at least quite a few of them didn't, including the main lead, and then all of a sudden, everybody was in it, and everybody wanted to be in the band, and on top of that, they got good really quickly for no reason.
Yeah, it was like next episode, suddenly everyone's into it and playing really well.
Which I would have appreciated, like, I feel like this anime would have been a million times better if they just focused on that instead of, oh, my Kokoro, it is broken.
Do you feel as though they needed more, like, pacing with, like, training as a band to getting good?
Basically. I mean, they wasted 2 episodes on a beach house episode where nothing happened.
Yeah. I will say that I will argue. Yes, I agree with the most of the bandmates, but at least with the main character, I think they showed, like, enough that he. Well, not enough, maybe, but they at least showed, like, parts where he was, like, in his room, still trying hard. Granted, yes, he got, like, apparently good, like, really quickly, but I like that at least at the beginning it showed that how much he was struggling to try to even play the guitar at the very beginning, at least on that part, to be able to learn that. So with that part, I think that was all right on that. And then also I also like the song like to emphasize when Fuuka was trying to make a song, like how much struggle she was having with all that, and then trying to be able to like get down the beats and whatnot. While I feel like yes, for the other people that definitely would have helped, but they could like revise their time to like emphasize more of the band stuff on how the others got better. But I would just want to at least also say that I think that at least Fuuka and was the main character's name?
You
Haruna.
You also got some time to like emphasize like, okay, he's trying to learn how to play music and whatnot. I just want to also point that out as well too.
To an extent, yes, and to an extent, no. Because they showed him in his room trying to practice, but they didn't show him with his bandmates trying to, and that's just the thing. You can't just practice by yourself. As somebody who's been in a high school band, if everybody just practiced in their rooms by themselves and didn't have band practice, and we all just showed up the day of the concert and then tried to play together, it would have been a train wreck. That's not how being in a collective band works. And that was actually another problem I had with the series, is even, like, there were parts, for example, and I'll go more into this into the spoiler section, where some things that happened just didn't even make any fucking sense. Like, hey, we can totally make a song by humming. Or, oh, this person hasn't practiced this song at all, and we're going to spend several episodes trying to get them to come and practice. And then when they finally show up, they know the entire song without practicing it once. Like, that's...
Leaps in logic, you're saying?
There's huge leaps of logic in this show. In my opinion. We can discuss that. Because I think that's one of the problems with the show. And it could be because it was 12 episodes long. I feel like this show should have been 2 core.
Definitely.
I agree with that, yeah. But
I feel it...
I don't know why, but that didn't really bother me, I guess. I just I don't know. I agree that is an issue. I'm just trying to... I didn't have that
It's
thought
shotgun
process
pacing, but...
That didn't distract me, though, from it, because I think I was too invested in wanting to see them get better, and they did get better, but they also, like, it was a lot of that process of getting better was off-screen. But I feel like, and I feel it might be an effect as also reading the manga and stuff like that, where it is more detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the stories and characters and leaps in logic, or whether they were or weren't there, John?
Some bits, like with the final episode where you had that.
Is that considered a spoiler?
It is considered a spoiler, so we'll talk about it in the spoiler section, but you can be vague, kind of like I was trying to be vague.
What did you think at the beginning? How did you think it started off?
There was... I was enjoying it, but I will admit there were a lot of sort of eye-roll moments where... or like, I was just like, oh my god, can you not? Or just like... yeah, it was just moments where I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
With the characters or with the story?
Mostly with the characters.
There were some many grown moments with them.
I know for me personally, I had a lot of problems with the characters too. Especially in regards to how they treated you, which is really hilarious because he's not the most articulate guy in the show, but that's part of his personality. But for example, in episodes 3 and 4, there is a misunderstanding and he continuously tries to apologize.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then by the end...
He's making an effort.
And by the end, they berate him for not trying to apologize. And it's like, but he did! Twice!
High school hijinks, Cass. Come on. Wah, wah.
Well, it's not high school.
And then he apologizes for not apologizing.
That's what I was about to say.
Baka.
I was about to say, but then he apologizes for not apologizing. It's not even a misunderstanding at that point. It's just bad writing.
I already can tell how the rating, quote-unquote, the rating scale is going to pan out for this show.
Well, I haven't gotten to other things that I'm going to say about. I'm just asking you guys how you feel about things in regards to how I do. I mean, that's just the characters and story. That's how I feel
Like I
about the
said,
beginning
that
of the
stuff
show,
didn't bother me
which is
for
what
some
Pete
reason,
says.
but I'm not saying that that's not bad. I'm just saying for some that just didn't bother me. But then again, that's if I'm being honest.
How dare you be honest?
Yeah, I would have liked to seen more of the band practicing and performing, because what we did get, I did really enjoy.
Again, like I think as Cass said, like if they focused more on the band aspect, which was one of their strengths, they probably would have done the show better.
Yeah, especially with
Definitely.
because you see the thing I think about Fuuka is it has a lot of really good elements, and it sounds like I'm hating on this anime super hard, and I'm not. I'm just saying the things that I have problems with, because there are so many good things here. Like the band elements, when they had them, I wish they would have been drawn out, and I wish this show could have been like 20-something episodes. But what I think, and this is kind of a segue, is I think they didn't have enough money to do so. And that shows in the production values. Because I was joking with John. Like, I texted John when I was watching episode 3 and 4. And I was like, hey, John, want to hear a really cool drinking game? And he's like, what? And I was like, go back to episodes 3 and 4 and take a shot every time they show the front still of the beach house for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
That was a thing.
Yeah, it's
same.
real bad. And they also recycle that frame of, there's a CPR moment, and they recycle that frame several times through the next several episodes, which it's fine the first couple times they do, because of course those characters are reacting, but then they, like, replay it over and over again, and then for some reason they don't actually ever have a conversation about it. It's weird. But there's a lot of recycled frames in this show, and there's a lot of stills in this show. When they're performing, they purposely try and put their mouths behind mics as often as they can. And then when they do show them singing, it's actually really well done with the lip flaps. But if you notice, it's always from the same angle. So
Yeah,
they really tried, but I think the problem with Fuuka is they didn't have enough time for production, and they didn't have enough money for production. And
It's
shows.
a very budgety show. It's definitely
Which
was
sucks,
on a
because
budget.
there is a lot of good to be had with Fuuka, I feel like. So I'm not hating on the show. I'm just hating on how it was presented to me.
I definitely thought that the characters looked nice, like their eyes, their faces,
yeah.
the way they're drawn.
Especially in the
Very
first
nice.
2 episodes.
The designs are good. I think I like the character designs.
Each frame is well drawn, it's just the animation between the frames is
Janky, sometimes. Or still,
Just
a little
completely.
janky at
Just a
times,
bit,
or-
yeah.
Which unfortunately also reflects on the story, because if they have less to animate, they have less to show. If they have less to show, we get less time with the band, we get less time getting to know the characters. I think one of the best animated episodes was the episode where they do Koyuki's past, which we can talk more about, I guess, in the spoiler section, but when they were
Spoilers,
kids.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't talk too much about that. We can talk about it in the spoiler section. But, like, that was one of the best animated episodes. And it was one of the better episodes because it had movement, it had animation, it had story, it had plot. And I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of mildly interested now.
Well, yeah, it gave her character development and more backstory.
Exactly.
To care about her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also do think that the final concert scene was an improvement, and I think they were saving some of the budget for... It still wasn't super well animated, but it was better animated than the previous concert scenes, I feel.
Yeah. Which the concert scenes
Yeah.
aren't bad. It's just that you can tell that they're not moving if you're paying attention.
Yeah, there's other series out there that have had concert scenes, and you see how much movement they had, whereas they were kind of stiff.
Well, I mean, compare their
and
performances
static,
to the performance they had in the opening segment. Like, the
Yeah,
openings
there's
of
that
the
as
show,
well.
which, of course, openings are going to be way higher budget than the entire show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, like, they had that potential, they just couldn't do it, because they probably didn't have the funds, is my thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I want to add, something I kind of liked, at least at the beginning, with he is like a heavy Twitter user, and like has like a big following and whatnot, and he's like, you know, all the other kids, you know, with the social media. But I like it that at least Fuuka, she was kind of almost a complete opposite, where she didn't even have a cell phone or whatnot, and she uses a CD player as well too, to listen to music and stuff. And she has this kind of mentality of like, I want to, like, you know, I don't want to, you know, just be drowning into social media. I just want to be with the people and kind of like be face to face and be real with them and whatnot, and sees kind of sort of more distraction or something like that from the people who are actually just near you. And I just kind of like that sort of like distinction between the two of them, and then at least they're at least how they are and whatnot, at least how that began as well. Like, especially with, it kind of shows with when their first quote unquote date, when having a hard time trying to find each other as well too.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Next to the Hachiko statue in Shibuya.
I want to be clear, the first 2 episodes of the show were great.
Yeah. They were really enjoyable.
And on top of what Pete said, I liked also, because there's a love triangle in this show. I'm not even going to say that that's a spoiler.
Yeah.
Because you know by episode, like, 2. But I also...
It kind of says it in the synopsis
well, it doesn't even say in the synopsis. One of the episodes is called Triangle. And then it introduces the love triangle. And I think that's episode 3. But I actually really like, on top of what Pete said, there is this kind of interesting, different twist on a love triangle. And that's what really kind of made me interested in the show to begin with. And that's the difference between having a girl there right next to him all the time with similar interests to him, but she's not connected to the internet. She's not connected to him in that way. And then you have the other girl, which that's the only real way she can talk to him. And I thought that they were going to do something interesting with that. And maybe they do in the manga. I don't know. But I really wanted to see more of that in the anime, and that's what I was really excited about when I watched episode 2. And then they did nothing with it, really.
Right.
But I did think that was actually really cool how they set that up. Even if they didn't do anything with it, they actually set up something that was really interesting.
I'm very curious to find out if you ever read the manga.
I actually started reading the manga today.
Oh, nice. How far are you?
I'm actually really curious about reading the manga myself, because it does sound like there was a lot cut out from the manga to the anime, so I'm curious to fill in the gaps.
The only thing I want to say is that the writer just had to rewrite sort of the story to fit it into that 12, you know.
Yeah, I heard there was an anime only ending with this.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Which happens. It happens all the time, especially with romantic comedy shows that almost never are going to get a season 2. It's just unfortunate. It's just not. It's not a genre of anime that tends to get a season 2. It's just how it is.
No.
Right.
So yeah. That being said, I do plan on going and reading. I started from the beginning, Craig, to answer your question, so I'm not very far.
Okay.
I like to go back to the very, very beginning, because even if the story is very similar, typically the original content, whether it be the manga or the light novel or the visual, it always has like little tiny things that are not
subtle
included.
nuances.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk to?
Speaking of which, like, as a person who was reading the manga, probably the thing I wanted the most from watching this anime was to hear what the songs actually sound like, because it's very jarring when you're reading a manga and it's all about a band anime. They have all these songs, and they're like, you know, people are saying how heartfelt they are, how they like the lyrics. And I'm just kind of like, but what do they sound like? And that was one of the
It's literally
nice things
like 1 or 2 panels.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like nice to hear like they use the same titles for some of the big songs from the manga, and I'm just like, wow, now I know what For You sounds like, or Fair Wind, how that actually sounds like. And they're really good songs, and I'm like really glad about that. That's at least like, hey, at least I now know what the songs are like, so whenever they reference that in the manga, I can like play it in my back of my head and hear it. So that's a really neat thing too. And then I think there was one more thing I was gonna say about this, unless I think it's spoiler stuff.
Well, you can save it for the spoiler section, but to add on to what you said, I know a lot of people felt like that with Your Lie in April too, whereas
very much.
not many people had any issue with the anime of Your Lie in April. If anything, most people seem to love the shit out of it. And same with the manga. It's a very beloved manga, but a lot of people will prefer to watch the anime because they can hear the music that Kaori's playing on her violin.
Yes.
So yeah, I think in general, when it comes to music shows, I'm not going to say exclusively better to watch the anime, but it does add that nice little, like, seasoning to the recipe that makes it, you know, a little bit, you know, adds a little bit more enjoyment that you may not get in the manga. Whereas I would possibly argue from what you guys keep telling me, maybe this anime just kind of lacked the main course that may have been served to you in the actual manga. But it still has that spice there, which is nice and makes it enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much on the ball with that assessment. Yeah.
Yep, for
it
sure.
It gives the feel and spirit of what the manga was like, but doesn't have the meat to it. And whenever you get to a certain point, Cass, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. I mean, I'm not going to say that this anime... You know, we'll get to that point when we talk about our ratings personally. But, John, you've been pretty quiet. Is there anything that, topic-wise, you want to do with... This is your episode. I'm kind of hijacking you, bro.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say outside of spoilers beyond...
I'm very curious.
There.
Very curious.
I overall enjoyed it, but there was moments mostly to do with character interactions.
Some grievances.
I was just like, could you just fucking not?
Could you just...
Could you talk? Could you talk?
Could you actually say words and listen to each other for 5 seconds?
Yeah.
What about
and as you said, it wasn't necessarily because you was
dumb.
He tried. He tried.
He's breaking the mold, man. He's not your typical oblivious main shonen protag.
And on the subject of the love triangle, this was something I was talking to Cassie about as I was watching it, and it was like, I really feel sorry because I really feel for this one character, but it's obvious from everything we've seen so far which way it's going to go.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in spoilers.
Spoilers.
But, I'll get into details about that in spoiler
I have
section,
words as well.
So yeah, I don't really have much to add outside of spoilers overall, but I did overall enjoy the
series.
I wasn't going to say that.
Okay. So do you want to move on to the rating section? Or
quick thing I just want to interject. How'd you guys? I know we talked a lot about you and the other two mains, but
Fuuka,
how did you guys feel about
Koyuki.
the other supporting characters, the bandmates? You know, there was
Good on you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the supporting characters.
So what was her name? The guitarist. I thought was kind of like
Sara.
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanted to
yeah,
talk
yeah,
more
Sarah.
about her in spoilers because I don't want to give away her character traits because they're kind of interesting.
I just thought the realization that happened was in episode 3 or 4. I thought it was kind of funny. But I found her interesting. But then
I kind of wish they'd shown a little bit more of her.
And why she suddenly went from one character personality to a complete other character personality. They explain it for 5 seconds, but then don't apply the same logic to the rest of the bandmates. And that kind of annoyed me. They had a really cool opportunity with her, and then they just kind of flushed it down the drain. But I did find her pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I also really like Mikasa.
Is he the brown-haired one?
The blonde guy.
The gay best friend! I love him.
Yeah, gay
The
best
gay
friend,
best
yeah.
friend, yes.
I always, man, I could have been saying his name wrong. It's Mikasa. I thought it was Mitsuki or something like that. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
it's
I think that's
Mikasa.
right. I'll
I'm
have to
on the
double check.
page to check.
But no, he's pretty great as well too. You know, I just like how his he's trying to hey, are you trying to flirt with me with the drummer guy? And he's like, no, stop.
Oh yeah, the
stop it!
side characters I feel in this show made way more sense than most of the mains. Like the way they acted and counteracted, and also even their reactions to things, because I'll talk about it in the spoiler section, but there's like a big development that happens in the last couple episodes, and every single one of the band members has a different reaction to what happened. And that was kind of nice and cool too. And I also liked they all had their own specific dream. That was another thing I really liked that they experimented with. That they were trying to pursue outside of this band that Fuuka essentially forced them all into. So they were, in my opinion, almost more dynamic than the main characters in some ways, but it didn't, because of the short episode counter, they didn't get as much screen time as they probably deserved.
Yeah, let's chalk this up for another loss potential for being kept to 12 episodes. Hello, Angel Beats.
Hi, Angel Beats. We haven't talked about you in a while. To those of you who don't know, me and Pete have an ongoing joke about how much I hate Angel Beats for similar reasons.
That ending, man, it was fantastic.
It's just
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just disappointing.
I mean, I still like it.
It's not as disappointing as the other. Yeah. I mean, actually, maybe now would be a good time to talk about ratings. What do you say, host?
Yep. So, for those that have stuck with us from the beginning, we did last time we did a review. We had switched over to this new rating system, and we have explained it previously, but we should probably explain it again.
Also for our guest host.
Do you want to...
Oh.
Also for our guest host as well.
Yeah, you
yes,
you can
please
explain
do tell
it, John.
me.
You basically said everything I wanted to say anyway. The fact that this is
Tell
something...
us more.
Basically, we used a new rating system on an episode without explaining that we changed it. We mentioned at the beginning of one of our impressions episode what exactly it was, but we're going to explain it one more time for those of you who aren't listening or paying attention. So,
Yeah,
go ahead, John.
We kind of found that we didn't like the 5-point scoring system that we had going. It felt a little
Restricting.
restricting. So we've gone with a system that is more on a personal experience base of it, with the worst being Burn It, when it comes to a series that we were just like, why did we suffer through this? Skip It if it was still kind of bad, but not
Offensive.
quite the worst. Check It for if it's a series that we felt, take it or leave it, see what you think of it first. Like It for a series that we did enjoy, but maybe didn't feel like is worth the purchase, or I try to find it streaming or something. And Love It for was like, yeah, we really, really, really enjoyed the series and feel like you should too, and should go out and buy it. And
Yeah, like borderline perfection is what Love It is.
So yeah, that's basically the rating system, and I can't help but think of the Bop It electronic toy that you can get when I read this out.
Okay, so if I were to say, like, hey, what was your review on Orimo? And I would be like, hey, I love it.
I hate you.
Would you really? Would you really say you love that show?
He's purposely trying to trigger me right now.
Trigger.
Hey, you do like Kuroneko. I mean, come on.
And Trigger's a pretty cool studio. I mean, they've, done Little Witch Academia and whatnot and stuff, So, you're welcome for the triggers.
I hate you so much.
Pete, what would you actually rate this since you're talking?
Oh, for me? I would give Fuuka the anime a check-in. I think that there are definitely faults that we've already talked about in terms of how the story
For sure.
Progresses, issues with the sort of melodrama between the characters that kind of is a bit much. While I'm a fan of drama, this does definitely take it a bit much. But I like
For
the
sure.
camaraderie of the bandmates. I like sort of their chemistry on how they sort of get together, and I like seeing them succeed and getting better. And also the music is pretty good. Hence, like, as we said, the band stuff is probably the strongest parts of this show, rather than the drama love stuff of this. But there's also some nice heartfelt moments, like the flashback episode that there was,
With
and some
Koyuki.
other moments as well too. Yeah, I think there's a lot that can be knocked off
done.
against it, because it can be very jarring or kind of off a bit. But I feel like I still like enjoyed it enough to be like, I kept on wanting to watch more of it, because I mean, for me, I watched this, I could stop, but I decided to keep on watching on my own accord, and I still am glad I watched it. And I think, like, if I'm still glad I watched it, I would say at least that's at least a check it for me.
I wholly agree with every point you just said. It does have flaws. Pacing is the thing. While I feel as though it could have been expounded upon, I wanted to see more interactions with the band rather than the love triangle bullshit. Definitely check it out if you at least check the first 3 or 4 episodes, and if you can't get around that, or if you can stand dumb high school melodrama with love triangles bullshit, then you may like it. But the real thrust of this that kept me going was Pete saying it's got cool music, and it's a band, and the side characters are actually got some pretty good personality.
They got some spunk.
So that's what I got.
So,
Spunk.
so 2 check it so far.
Yep.
What do you got?
Cassie, do you want to go, or should I?
Whatever you say, Mr. Host.
You go first, and I'll...
Okay, since
finish
you're
off.
making me go first, I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
Oh dear.
What's your favorite bread?
Sourdough.
Nope, I have a point. John specifically.
Tiger.
What's it?
Oh,
Tiger loaf.
Tiger loaf bread. Okay, can you make a sandwich with tiger loaf bread?
Yes.
Okay, what's your least favorite bread?
My least favorite bread.
Wow.
Like-
This is getting deep.
Like, you don't want to make a sandwich with this particular type of bread.
well, if he doesn't have such a bread,
Do you like wheat bread?
Wheat bread's okay.
God damn it, man! Give me a bread you don't like. My metaphor's gonna crash and burn if we take too long.
You're losing steam literally at the second.
Low GI. I don't think I'd be able to make a
Lugia?
sandwich out of a low GI.
what about rye
Luigi?
bread? Do you like rye bread?
Low GI bread.
Low GI?
I don't know what else is called.
Low GI bread?
Yeah.
Okay, and what is like a really okay meat that you would put on a sandwich?
Really okay meat that would put on a sandwich.
Like you could eat it and it would be an okay sandwich, but it's not like the best thing ever.
Ham, because there's lots
Ham?
of ham with
Okay.
the show.
Yep.
Okay, so listen. How I feel about Fuuka, if I were to make a sandwich for John. The beginning is like a logian bread. And then, in the middle, there's some ham. Or sorry, the beginning has some tiger loaf bread. Gets you kind of into it. You're just like, munch, munch, munch. And then, you're like, this ham's all right, too. And then you realize, by the very end of it, God damn it, the sandwich was made with some Logian bread. That's how I felt about Fuuka. It was okay. It was something that had some good elements to it, but left a bad taste in my mouth in a lot of ways. And the meat of it was okay. I could eat a ham sandwich, but why would I when I could go and get a Philly cheesesteak? Like, why? There's so much better things I could have been watching last season. So I'm going to give it a check it too. It wasn't my cup of tea for a lot of reasons, but I do realize that there are some parts of this that I feel don't make it offensive. So I'd say give it a check it. If you can't get through the first 4 episodes, it's not going to get better. But if you're watching it and you're like, wow, this has some potential, or in my case, the music is enjoyable, you might find something here that you'll enjoy, but it could go either way. So I'd recommend it. Just check it out and see if it's your cup of tea.
Yeah. I will say that the bits I found more frustrating were definitely more towards the start of the series, and they kind of slowly went away. There was still a slightly frustrating thing towards the end, but overall, I liked it, but I say just check it out. I agree with everyone else. It's going to be hit and miss. The frustrating parts are there. I can't deny it, as much as I say they mostly go away towards the end, but yeah.
So spoilers?
You do you. So on to spoilers.
Spoiler
Get out
talk,
if you
here
don't
we
want to
go.
be spoiled on Fuuka.
Get out. Get
Cass,
Yep.
Where do we start, John?
Cass, I want to hear how. So Cass, you talked about how you loved episode 3 and 4, and I laughed by saying, "Oh, you love Fuuka now. Just wait. Tell me, how did you like Fuuka at the end of the show? 'Cause
I didn't
God,
I didn't like her at all.
She was very selfish.
Because she was.
Oh,
She was.
for sure.
And the thing is that I started to like her, is the weird thing, because I thought that in John, I'm actually really intrigued on how you felt about this too, because you kept sending me massive messages on Discord, and I remember one of them was a gigantic caps lock of, "Oh, for fuck's sake." So, so maybe we were thinking about the same part, but the bit where she just suddenly wanted to leave the band was dumb and melodramatic. I kind of understand why she felt that way, but at the same time, it's just like, oh no, I can't get the guy I like, so I'm gonna throw a hissy fit and run away and fuck everyone when we're finally getting going. Was kind of...
Pete contextualized it, but
Actually-
it's still kind of dumb.
It's real dumb.
For a second, let me play devil's advocate just for 1 second on this. So yes, I
What you
agree
got?
it's really dumb and whatnot, but I also was trying to think for a second, like, so what if you are in like a band, and this is all just purely for hobby and whatnot, and it's supposed to be fun and whatnot, but you are in a situation where it is wholly uncomfortable for you to be in such a hobby or something like that to do, where you, A, you're not having fun, and B, you are like feeling miserable on this, and like to sacrifice
because the guy you
yourself
like is there.
to sacrifice yourself where to help other people where you are not really feeling it. I can sort of understand where she's like, I can't do this anymore, this is too much for me. I can see that part, but I agree that it was way too sudden and whatnot to just kind of like be like, no, I'm out.
Well, also, on top of that, I would agree with you, except for literally 3 scenes before that, she said, "No, I don't want to leave my band."
Yeah, see, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
That is definitely
exactly.
the
That,
I
I mean,
agree
if
with
they had led up to it, like if they had that drawn out for several episodes, or even just that episode in particular, where that she was having a battle with herself, then sure.
There's no monologue or anything.
But
She just kind of
yeah, she just suddenly changes her mind, and like as she's walking away from that situation where it wasn't even she was hesitating. She's like, nope, I want to stay with my band and I'm happy. And they also had that whole build up to her writing that song in the first place, which I actually thought was really cool, where they did the thing where she consulted Koyuki on how to write a good song.
Yep.
And Koyuki told her, like, all of my songs are about heartbreak.
You.
And about someone I liked. And then when she's put in the same situation, she writes an amazing song. And I was like, oh my god, cool beans show. You actually got me
I like
interested
that.
in this character. Oh my god. And
Yeah.
then literally 2 seconds later, she flushes it down the toilet.
And they're like, come on, man, why?
It's just
I mean, like,
every
that-
time
that-
she... Oh no, I was just gonna say, every time I started to like her, she would just fuck it up.
Mm-hmm. Right. I can see that. I was just saying, like, yeah, it's just kind of interesting because it's proved to be a double-edged sword for her, where she has this, you feel like she's like finally she gets herself. She learns more about herself through this grueling process of making a song, and she has this. She has this like, I know now, like, I guess, like, it's doing through this. I understand like what I'm going through, but then also in that part she makes a very hasty decision on that. Where
It makes
again,
no fucking sense.
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean,
And not
it's like
only does she just leave the band, she takes a solo gig.
Which is kind of like adding insult to injury if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm,
Because, like...
I didn't think about that.
Because Mikasa and the drummer guy are like, she fucking backstabbed us, dude. She really did. And Yu's like, I'm gonna get the band back together. I'm like, and that's when I'm like, so you finally realize his untapped potential. He actually really likes his band, and he is actually able to make friends IRL rather than through Twitter. Yeah. Good on you, Yu.
Which is why most of the characters I liked by the end, because they grew and became better people. Whereas Fuuka started to, and then didn't, and learned nothing, and did nothing.
And then she's like, I'm not dating Koyuki. It's okay.
And then it took, them breaking up for her to even... I don't know. And then that whole... Don't even get me started on that whole situation where he dated her when apparently he didn't like her, and... Oh my god. Fucking really. Anyway, John, how did you feel? You've been real quiet.
I'm trying to think. Was that the bit that made me go, for fuck's sake?
I don't know. You didn't give me context, and I told you not to, so...
Yeah, I didn't want to give you context because there was spoilers going on.
Well,
I know there was one bit that had me, like, don't fucking do this to me series, and that was when she almost got hit by a truck.
Oh, yeah.
That bit.
Yeah, what was that about?
Oh.
Craig, just don't.
Why, series?
I know.
Like, that whole scene was like, something bad gonna happen. Something bad gonna happen.
Like, you felt like something foreboding was gonna happen.
Ended up being, she broke her.
And then and then it's just like, the worst thing that happened is that she dropped her little, what was it, her little sheep thing?
The charm that she got with you.
Alpaca.
And it's just like, okay. And apparently, I guess they were trying to frame that as being her moment to, like, decide to quit the band or whatever, I guess. Because then, like, right after that is the scene where that happens. But
yep.
It's like, I don't
think it's anything like that. I think it's just the author being a dick to the readers.
Yeah.
From what Peter said, without going into any like spoilers about the manga, apparently the mangaka likes to troll people with like, wait, what? How is this a thing?
Yeah, but I mean, it just like, it was unnecessary though, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's totally unnecessary. If anything, like I said, this was more of an Easter egg, I think, for readers.
But yeah, I know that bit was like, don't do this to me, because I thought she was going to fucking die. Thankfully she didn't, but
I didn't think she was necessarily going to die. I just thought she was going to get injured, or it was going to cause a problem with them performing, which would have been really, really, really generic. But then what they did do was even more generic than that, so...
Are you saying...
No, she doesn't want to be in the band anymore. I'm going to go and make the CD, and it's going to bring us all together, even though everyone's already made their decisions. And one guy could even get a track scholarship and have his fucking future set. And other said guy could also have his future set. And third girl found a band where she could have been happy and met other people. But fuck that. I'm going to give everyone a CD, and it's going to bring everyone together.
You're not
to add to that, for at least for Mikasa and whatnot, he wasn't happy with that whole entire set, so I can totally at least see for him.
His father.
Like, yeah, because he has daddy issues going on.
Yeah, but they pointed to that, but that's what I meant also by, like, the side characters didn't get as much development as they should have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
I really wish I'd seen more about the side characters, and on the subject of Sarah, I remember I messaged you, Cassie, saying, have you met the third girl yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I really wanted to get your thoughts on that. But then she kind of just didn't do anything beyond have little moments where she like had little jealous looks
Yeah,
Who?
and
to the side, and it was
Sada.
Sada.
Honestly,
Oh, sorry,
I
yeah.
think
the guitarist.
that
She kinda dug
she
you.
was one gigantic missed opportunity in general. Because I thought that her character was really... And I had a conversation with Craig about this off pod. But I thought it was really interesting how, until she knew that she already knew you through Twitter, which was also a really cool little addition. Like, the fact that, you know, people meet each other online but never actually meet each other in person was really cool. And that whole moment where they finally realized who each other were was really funny.
Yeah.
And
I'm eating a sundae with the bitch, and she's like, "Man, sounds rough, buddy."
yeah,
Wait a minute."
right?
Yeah, and it's like that whole
Like,
entire
he
thing with
tells-
personas, you know, with in real life persona and also online persona as well too.
Yeah, exactly, because she's way more Genki online. And then, and like, immediately when she realizes who she is, she has this abrupt change in character. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, so she's probably going to have to get to know all of the band members this way. Nope.
Nope.
No.
And
Again, probably more
and the
fleshed
other
out
thing,
time.
yeah, and like, it's just like, they didn't like even show her develop, because they try to make it out that she's very cold until she gets to know people and can actually express how she feels. Which is cool.
Yes.
I like that idea.
Right.
But they didn't use it. And, like, they also, they explained why she said specific things to you that sounded bitchy, but she really had good intentions. But then you, like, go back to when they first saw her in, like, the lunchroom, and they were like, hey, can we sit with you? And she's like, no, and leaves. Like, what part of that was being a nice person?
Right.
Question. Do you think that she actually liked you? Like I kind of. I kind of got like
it
an
might have been
inkling.
me reading into it, but I did see moments that looked like
She was jelly.
moments of jealousy.
Right, but they didn't really emphasize it in the anime at all and stuff like that.
No, they-
I mean,
no,
they
they
gave maybe
didn't.
They
little
didn't-
hints, but
Yeah, it was me.
it's too subtle.
It was glances and reactions that were very, very subtle. That again might have just been me reading into it more than anything.
I read them more as she was annoyed people weren't listening to her.
That too. Yeah.
Because I remember one particular instance, for example, she went to go and be like, oh my god, your guitar playing has gotten so much better. And then Fuuka cuts her off, I guess, because she didn't notice she was talking and was like, oh my god, that was so great, you could. And
Right.
And then he's
That
just
was
like, oh, thank you so much. And then Sada's response is to like hit him in the back of his back with her guitar. And I thought
And
that
he's
was
like, "Ow,
more,
why?"
and I think that was less about her being. I mean, I haven't read the manga, I don't know, but from what we've been shown in the anime, it seemed more like she was like, "But I was complimenting you first.
Right.
Why is no one paying attention to me?"
Motherfucker.
Actually, let me share quickly also a gripe that I have.
What
The
you
part
got?
like when they were at the beach house, and then when you is
Okay.
having like such a hard time, like trying to give orders, and whatnot, and the whole entire thing was
Okay.
about like, hey, don't be wimpy. Actually scream out
Man
and
up.
like mean out, what you say and whatnot. In the anime, that has no bearing, or like okay, sure, he learned how to like scream louder or whatnot, but at least in the manga there was a reason for that kind of like led to something. Whereas this, when that was happening, it's like, okay, so they're gonna follow this up in the manga with it. It never happened. And I was just like, so what was that for? That was completely useless. The build up for that sort of like teach you how to yell or whatnot
Belt.
and stuff like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it kind of like it felt unneeded. Like if they were not going to use it, then why have that sort of scene at all? Which I mean, like with other people have said, there are other moments in this anime where it felt unneeded, or a waste of time to like build
Like-
upon.
Like the date with Koyuki, for him to essentially be like, I'm sorry.
Can we just
You
talk about
almost-
Koyuki for a minute?
You almost had sex with me, but Fuuka.
I actually really, really liked her.
Hmm.
Because she was actually a complex character, and even the selfish things she did in this show, she explained that she was being selfish.
Oh, you're talking
I
about
agree,
her
yeah,
professing
because-
her love for you.
She
Quick
felt
thing with
more
Koyu.
human than half the people in this show.
She did. And it's kind of interesting. I think I like Koyuki more here. Actually, I would say actually way more here in the anime than compared to the manga. And it's kind of interesting because like you get more of a better take of Koyuki on this, where I felt like I appreciated her more here, especially like as a character herself. She's pretty good. The only thing I was just like, as you said, like sometimes she would be selfish. Like the times where sometimes you would just talk to her while they were quote dating, and then he would just randomly like just talk about how his day was, but then as soon as he brings up Fuuka, like with no like anything that would seem like oh, he likes her or whatnot, but just talking about the days, like, oh yeah, Fuka's working on a song and whatnot, she immediately like either like it grims up or like is
Shuts
like
down.
frowning and whatnot. And I was just like, but he didn't even do anything. He's just like, he literally just said her name, and all of a sudden she's like, I gotta go.
High school, Pete. It's high school.
Well, she
Exactly,
even
and
explained that
I
later
can't fault
on.
her for that, because they're teenagers and stuff like that, and emotions, whatnot.
Honestly, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Even as a 26-year-old woman, when my boyfriend talks about, or like when I had a crush on my boyfriend and he would talk about other girls, I'd get
Oh
jealous.
yeah, man.
And even
Yeah.
now, when he talks about other girls, sometimes I get a little, like, I don't
Insecure.
actually say anything, but in my mind, I'm screaming internally. Because people,
Mhm.
I mean, that's just something people do. And it's ironic because I think it's something that both Fuka and Koyuki do. But they each do it to a different extent. And one
Yes,
of them
very
is
much.
way more self-aware of what she's doing than the other.
I agree on that, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is proof that Koyuki is way more mature than Fuka would ever be.
And honestly, she's the one who, and I don't know if this is how it is in the manga, doesn't really matter because it's how it's presented in
No.
the anime, but I liked that Koyuki is the one who came up and said, Fuka, you're being an idiot. Like, go and, like, listen to what
Yep,
you
for
want to
sure.
do. And then she does. And I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Could you just be a guidance counselor for the rest of the show? I don't want you touching the main character. I don't want you getting involved. I want you and gay best friend to just mediate everybody's stupidity.
For sure, right?
There was also the moment as
there
well
was another
too.
bit. The
Oh, go ahead, John.
the argument at the beach house, and as frustrating as it was, just the fact that, okay, gay best friend to the rescue, I'm gonna fix this because you two are being idiots. Oh, rather, she's being an idiot. But I kind of loved it, but there was a bit of me that was like, okay, so how many more times is it gonna be a frustrating situation that it's gonna be gay best friend to the rescue? But yeah, that was a bit that I loved it, but also it was like, okay, but this is also kind of dumb.
I think I could say a lot about the melodrama in this show. It's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
A lot
Yeah.
of, yeah,
Dumb and overblown.
pretty much all the frustrating bits involved the melodrama.
There's very dumb situations.
But that being said, though, and I use that term finally, I still found it enjoyable, right? It wasn't like, it was dumb melodrama, but it wasn't like a fucking dumpster fire on, like, crashing into, like, a wall or anything like that. I still watched it.
Yeah, I still watched it. I just say that, like, if I wanted to watch a show about stupid misunderstandings and a romance plot that I actually enjoyed, I'd just go watch Kimi ni Todoke. Which is
Yeah.
is arguably, in my opinion, a much better show. But also had 2 seasons to build up on what they were doing.
Yeah,
Right.
and again,
So-
this is the fault, right? This is the fault with the 12th episode. And this is kind of like expounding upon like maybe a broader topic, but like the hesitancy of anime production companies to greenlight sequels and order short seasonal episodes counts 12 or 13 and say, you got this slated budget, this many episodes, do what you get it done.
Guys, remember
Yeah, it
when
feels
we
so.
were
It feels-
younger and 2-core anime was the norm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the anime? What was the norm?
2-core.
The 24, 2-core, 2
like,
seasons.
26, 24.
24,
26
okay, yeah,
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that used to be the norm, like, back in the 90s.
So like Geass or Bebop or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now it has to be something that will definitely sell to even get that.
Which is kind of worrisome if you think about it.
Yeah, but that's a broader topic for another day. I don't really have any more concerns outside of the interpersonal connections with the characters. I mean,
yeah, I don't really have
we all kind of
much to say either. The only other thing that bothered me was the leaps in logic. Like, Fuuka automatically knowing all of the lyrics to this song that she spoke to no one about and performed in front of everyone somehow without sheet music in front of her and sang it perfectly and in tune with a band that she didn't practice with even once. It's just like,
it's weird.
Okay.
It's weird because, like, maybe I'm being a little biased. I haven't seen Idolmaster in this, but, like, Love Live kinda did the same thing, where it's just, like, Maki wrote the music, and then the next episode they would perform it.
I mean, it's just... I mean, at least in Love Live, they communicate with each other. Or you could even make that leap of logic that, maybe they sent them the lyrics over the phone or something. Like, it may have happened off stage, but, like, in this particular situation, Fuuka was purposely ignoring everyone. There's no way she had those lyrics until she walked in that door.
No, wait, hold on a second. I believe you said, like, he had, like, here, I want you to listen to this on our way there. Like, he had the song with him.
He made
so
the
on the
music.
way there, she was listening to it. So.
He had the melody.
So then she just kind of, like, drummed up the song, like, the lyrical bits to the melody
on the way there, on the spot, yeah.
Exactly, and then she somehow performed it perfectly as well without practice. And, like, even if she had the lyrics, she performed it supposedly perfectly in front of a group of people without practicing with them at all as a band.
So bottom line, we all need to just watch Kids on the Slope.
Yes. Including me.
Kids on the Slope is pretty good.
That's it. But that's all we need right there. Just bottom line, very okay show, Fuuka. Go watch a better music show.
Yeah. I like to think of Fuuka as fast food for what are called music anime.
Music
like,
and romance.
Like the music's good. It's very short, doesn't last long, but it's also like
it
feels kind of shallow, especially with its like the depth. There's not too much depth to the show.
Yeah.
Whereas
so
if you
McDonald's,
go to
it's McDonald's
Kids
or
on
Taco
Slope,
Bell.
Huh?
So you're saying Fuuka's like McDonald's or Taco Bell?
Pretty much, and then you go to Kids on Slope and it's a steakhouse.
This entices me to watch that show even more.
It's good. It's really good.
Well, with that, I suppose that's everything we have to say about the series. I hope you enjoyed listening to our ramblings today. I thank my co-hosts for joining me, and also thank Pete for joining us for this episode as well.
Yeah.
And thank Cammy for her sweet burns, even though she's not even here.
Yep. Thank you, Cammy, for getting those impressions to us when you can be here.
Cammy, I need to talk to you about Tsukigahime,
also, yeah.
or whatever that show was.
Tsukigahime. Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Tsukigahime.
Anyway, good night, everyone.
Enough.
Good night, everyone.
Peace, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.